There's been a murder. 60,000 dead in West Texas after the Bears stomped Texas Tech 45-17, winning in Lubbock for the first time since 1990. This is Locked On Baylor.
You are Locked On Baylor, your daily podcast on the Baylor Bears, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Happy Monday, everybody. Welcome to Locked On Baylor. It is Halloween to all of those who celebrate. I'm Hugh Hefner alongside
Tommy Wiseau.
Welcome into Locked On Baylor. Thank you.
Oh, hi, Drake.
Locked On Baylor, your first listen every single day. I'm Drake Toll from Sports Illustrated Inside the Bears. That's Cameron Stewart from also Sports Illustrated Inside the Bears. And we are Baylor. Cam, Halloween. Very exciting. Very happy for that. It doesn't feel like Halloween, though, because it's a Monday, which...
Did not hit her. I did not.
Just a weird time to have Halloween. And
not my favorite.
A weird Saturday, because, look, it's the Bud Bowl, so everybody's kind of ready for this game to kind of go a little haywire. Had you told me haywire was 3 Tech quarterbacks combining for 5 interceptions, I want to open the show by saying, if you're a Texas Tech fan, I'm sorry. Baylor fans walk away with there's always next week. If you're Texas Tech, you just unloaded all 3 quarterbacks, and they all looked terrible
against what was one of the worst secondaries in the whole conference.
Oh yeah, a key emphasis on the word was, big italics there. Baylor has righted the ship with 2 straight wins in Big 12 play. I hated that the announcers made it so well known that Baylor is within striking distance. The Big 12 championship, which just makes it feel like it's not even going to happen now. But if you get that version of Baylor, that Baylor secondary, when is the last time you've seen that unit play that well? The Sugar Bowl, maybe, against a backup quarterback?
Yeah, I'm going to take this off so I can seem serious. That's fine. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, probably Sugar Bowl, or they had made mention of it on the broadcast. It was the first time they had 4 more picks in a game since the Big 12 championship, not yet 12 months ago. So we did see it last year. I don't know if it was necessarily their strong suit. It was the defensive line, which finally showed up on Saturday. But yeah, I was quite impressed because they had some coverage sacks in there on top of, there will be some people who are saying it's not all that impressive because Morton looked just horrible. But they forced him into some mistakes. They did it for all 3 of them. They defended well when they weren't picking passes off, which, again, that's just not something we've really seen all year long. They're young in that defensive backfield, and it's a positive sign, Drake. It is a positive sign.
It was very interesting to me how the announcing crew did. They went for this is the most interceptions that Baylor has had, and then you're expecting 4 to be something kind of monumental.
In 10 years.
Nope. They kind of just did that against Spencer Sanders. 5, however, they weren't even going to try for. We never found out how long ago 5 was. The secondary, as good as they were, Blake Shapen, I felt like, is as sharp as he was, did what he needed to do. He filled a role.
Yeah, I think the latter. Yeah.
He filled a role, and that what did Gary Bohannon do last season? He literally filled a role. What did Blake Shapen do in the Big 12 championship game second half? Namely, he filled a role. And instead, it was Richard Reese. Dick Reese. I don't think we can emphasize enough
for sure
that this kid is 19 years old. 19 years old, has 800 rushing yards and 12 touchdowns. Shock Linwood had 8. This guy's got 12 touchdowns, 3 on Saturday. Where did he come from? Where did he go? Dick Reese.
And I think what's even more impressive to that is he has been Baylor's most clutch player this year. Mm-hmm. We talked about it with the Kansas game. It was that big third down to kind of put the game away. He rushes for 37 yards and then ends up scoring the touchdown that puts it away. And they had a couple of those last night or Saturday night.
Yeah.
Tech gets the game to 24-17. To be honest with you, I'm not totally pooping my pants like I would be normally at a Baylor game. I just felt better about this one. But they had a couple third downs and they went to Dick Reese. I think one of them might have been a 4th down. And he just got the job done every time. And he's done that all season long. And it's so crazy. This guy was the third string in week 1. And some dashingly handsome, very smart young man wrote after week 1, Drake, that if he was going to pick a starting running back out of the group just based on the eye test against the Albany Great Danes, it was going to be Dick Reese. And wonder where that kid is now. Probably playing the lottery with how smart he is, But it is so impressive. And he is, and you mentioned Shock Linwood, who had a good freshman year. He had all the records before Dick Reese is breaking them now. He was a second or third back on the team. Dick Reese is an absolute bell cow, and they have 1.5 running backs right now. Quaylon Jones also got banged up on Saturday.
Well,
and he carried it 36 times. 36 times after 31 the week before for a 19-year-old, Drake.
Yeah.
You didn't even get into scruffs to celebrate that.
I volunteer.
Without a big black X on your hand.
I volunteer to play running back for Baylor next week. Nobody ever responded. I sent email after email to every person.
At least to shake it up. Give the defense some different looks.
Involved in the program. Nothing right now.
They've seen your defensive stats for China Spring this year.
Pretty insane. It's at this point, it's like, I don't want to make a joke that you just need a warm body back there, but some kind of semblance of a human being behind Richard Reese to not have him take every carry would be good. Baylor, I love it. Quaylon Jones, I don't love Quaylon Jones getting hurt, but after he gets hurt, Baylor's like, well, we can put drones in, and they immediately run the ball with drones. And then the next play, I guess Dylan Doyle. It's just they're so.
I thought we were going to see Kyron Drones in the backfield.
I did too. They're going to ask him back.
Blake Shapen handing him the ball.
We're sorry that we have to do this to you, but we kind of have to.
That'd be great. And to kind of that same vein, though, the way the offense ran on Saturday, the whole game was the first time it felt like a 2021 team. I get it. It's not the same team. You can't do apples to apples. But I said this in my article for Inside the Bears yesterday. They're built the same way.
Yeah.
This is what this coaching staff how they want to play.
Big offensive line.
That is the first time we saw
41 minutes of time of possession.
Yeah. That's the first time we've seen it this year in game 8. An actual RVO, winning the line of scrimmage on both sides, forcing the quarterback into mistakes because the offense is getting behind the chains and you're putting a lethal pass rush in there and capitalizing on those mistakes. First time we saw it all year. Not passing until they need to when they can effectively get the defense to bite on some play action. They barely did that last night. Shapen was fine. He was, I think, Rocky, whatever his name was from ESPN2,
Balboa,
was having a day talking about Blake Shapen. He had himself an awful game, by the way.
Rocky forgot his microphone for the first 7 minutes or so.
He was terrible.
He's
Baylor. Can I just point this out? I pointed this out on Twitter. Baylor gets the ball with 2 minutes left in the half, Drake. They're winning. They've got the ball with 2 minutes left in the half and 3 timeouts. And the first play, they run the ball. They've been running it effectively all night. And Rocky just goes, wow, I'm just surprised. Baylor is calling it. They are packing it in and going into the locker room. And I was like, no, they're not. They got a 6-yard rush on first down. They have 3 opportunities to stop the clock without a first down. They're playing the game. This is their offense. And they passed it the whole rest of the time. And I was like, is this guy serious? This guy gets paid way more than you and I do, Drake.
True, actually, yes. Rockstar.
Although I'm not complaining about my salary as a color commentator for the China Spring Cougars.
You see Rocky's I think it was Rocky's top 6 was nuts. Just insanity, too.
I don't even remember it.
That guy was on a bender the whole night. And he pitches to the play-by-play guy, goes, what's your top 6? The guy goes, yours looks good. It's just put the guy on the spot.
You're Alabama at 6.
Cam, I want to say it's a bad week for the Baylor should lose all of their games crowd.
Oh, it's tough.
My heart does go out to those that thought that was a good idea because I could see the heart behind it. It's not going to happen. I also
it's because of these darn coaches. They don't know what they're doing.
They don't. The players had to take over this week.
Joey took all the good ones.
Half the staff, if not more.
That's what I've heard.
Can't help but feel bad too for the Tortillas out there that got tossed for nothing.
It's tough.
It reminds me of something that I've lived by for the last few years. Do you ever you're eating food and you get to the last bite of the food and you think, this food has one purpose in the world. If I throw this away, it lives in the trash. It goes to a landfill. It doesn't fulfill its one purpose. I have to allow this piece of food to fulfill its purpose. I've got to eat it. I can't let it sit there. Makes me think the life of a tortilla. You wholly expect like fajita, burrito, something. You're on the playing surface, and then the very best part of this, do you know who picks them up? Did you see who picked them up last week?
No.
The Texas Tech reserve football players. They come running down the field.
At A&M, they do the kick coverage, but at Tech, they clean up those tortillas.
Send the walk-ons, and they come sprinting over, grab them tortillas, and walk right back to the bench.
It's one of the great honors. It's like the people who follow Bevo with a shovel.
Oh.
It's one of the great jobs in college football.
But if that was a football player, if they followed Bevo with the fourth string running back. By the way, I think Dick Reese was the fourth string running back. Quaylen was at 3. I guess you could say that he split carries. It's the whole Baylor roster thing.
Yeah.
Where
technically and Squirrel, and we thought Josh Fleeks was going to play running back.
Right. Dick Reese was way down that list because Tay McWilliams, Squirrel, Quaylen, and they all, of course, Dick Reese is also the first string running back week 1 because they all said or. Quaylen Jones or Richard Reese or Josh Fleeks. And that depth chart just hasn't changed too, which is pretty funny. Speaking of funny, betonline.net, I made $150 on football this weekend. $150. Way more than I had before that.
For adult money, that's like $1,000.
I now have $200 in my bank account. So I'm almost out of gas. So it was a big week.
That'll put you in the red.
You ever heard the parable of the debtor? I was teetering my way there. I was getting ready to go into debt. But instead, thanks to betonline.net, it's where I won. It's where the game starts. Everything you can imagine. You name something. Name one thing.
I'll name you one thing. We're doing this on Sunday night, and there's still no highlights up for Baylor, Texas Tech. I don't know if this game even happened, but I can't do my way cool yet. That was supposed to go out like 5 hours ago. If you're listening to this on Monday afternoon, hopefully it's out by now.
BetOnline.
That's one thing, Drake.
BetOnline has the Baylor Texas Tech highlights. I was just looking, and they're there. It's where the game starts. There's podcasts, there's lines, there's all kinds of stuff at betonline.net. It's where the game starts. Go check it out today, betonline.net. Cam, the Texas Tech offense was not good. I wrote a column last week that said Tech's strength is its inconsistency. That you just kind of never know where the ball is going to go. They've got a ton of receivers they like to go to. They have 3 quarterbacks. They have 2 running backs. Kind of what you saw from Baylor a few weeks back, where it's like, all right, the team hasn't figured itself out yet, and that's not a huge problem. Texas Tech beat West Virginia 49-10. 49-10. And Baylor curb stomped them 38-10. Is that no? It was like 49-10. It was that bad.
It is bad. It was a blowout.
Baylor curb stomped them on the road in Lubbock. So I want to apologize. I actually do want to apologize this time. I said 38-24 Texas Tech will win this game.
Yes.
I had
that is in print.
Pegged by a lot. Your prediction's not in print, but I know you also had Texas Tech winning this football game.
Yeah, if you had asked me on Friday, I probably would have said Tech.
As did, I feel like most objective, reasonable people had Texas, including Big Game Boomer, who's never been wrong once, ever. And Baylor dominates this football game. So does this prove that Baylor went with the right guy and Dave Aranda instead of Joey McGuire?
You know what? I'm not ready to say that yet. I'm not ready to say that yet. I'm going to need a little more on tape. Yeah, that's tough. It's going to take a lot for me to reverse that claim. Yeah, for sure. I just don't know yet. I don't know. I mean, what has Dave done? Really?
Without Joey McGuire specifically. What has Dave done without Joey McGuire?
Exactly. Good call. Joey would have had those guys ready for BYU, West Virginia. I heard complacency was a problem. Never heard that under Joseph. Just saying.
So in this segment, I want to get into the Big 12, across the Big 12, and how just another nuts weekend, because that's just what it's become.
It's crazy.
A butt weekend, a nuts weekend, everything. You name the body part, you saw it on Saturday, depending.
True.
You can see it every day. The West Virginia game is going to haunt me. Baylor wins the West Virginia game. They are squarely in the conversation of a Big 12 championship.
Pretty great shape.
1 loss Baylor, 2 loss Oklahoma State, 1 loss Kansas State, no loss TCU. It's all like this big toss-up of which one of these teams is going to go. And right now, again, Baylor still controls its destiny, but the odds of them winning out are slim. But Big 12 this weekend, how about Kansas State? The boys from Manhattan getting it done.
Getting it done is an understatement. I know the score to that one. That was 48-0, Drake.
Yes, it was. That's a great point.
Can you believe that? With a backup quarterback.
Oh, yeah.
What hasn't been said about it? No, that is, I mean, nuts. We know Spencer Sanders is a little bit overrated, although he did have a good game against Baylor. But to get shut out, I mean, throwing Gunnar Gundy, poor Gunnar Gundy goes out there at some point. It was not terrific. And meanwhile, I was just punching air before that, watching TCU, hoping they would lose, and they don't. They don't do that.
No. Those guys keep winning football games, man.
They're good. They're good. I don't know if they're a top 10 team in the country, but they have certainly played their way into it. I can tell you that, Drake.
It is for the over. They hit the over on that play.
Crazy.
One of the worst beats in college football history. 4th and 1 at like the 30. All you got to do, you can take a knee if you want to. You could punt it at the 10. You could do anything. And instead they throw a ball to the end zone, mind you, for a touchdown. Insanity. They win by 10 and cover the 9-point spread. And then Oklahoma at Iowa State, going on the road to win 27-13 to further prove Iowa State has the worst offense in the Big 12.
That's something about that state, man.
Jeez. And it's not close. There are 2 other teams that have been shut out in conference play, and Iowa State's still the worst offensively.
I've got a question for you, and this is real quick. Quick aside. Oklahoma, Iowa State, giving us some great games over the years. How many times do you think Iowa State has beaten Oklahoma the last decade? Because they always give them problems.
I would say 3.
I would have said like 4 or 5. The answer is 2 since 1996. And I think it was back-to-back years. Since the Big 12, as it were. Yeah. That's just, I was just surprised by that. I thought they had done it the way Kansas State does it, but they don't. Anyway, they're bad. They're not great at all, actually. But they're not like horribly terrible. Not like those old Kansas teams of 2 years.
It's like West Virginia. You're bad. But you could beat some teams. You're not like the worst.
They should have beat UT.
Bad. Yes, they should have. Bad officiating.
They played Baylor close, but it wasn't that close.
No,
as close as the score might suggest.
17-point game late.
Yeah.
So that leads us to Oklahoma this weekend, which most years you're probably thinking it's a guaranteed loss, and then this year's the weird Baylor could win by 14, could lose by 14. The thing that I circle, this is the best rushing defense in the Big 12 against the worst rushing defense in the Big 12. And by worst, I mean Oklahoma is bad.
This could be like 2014 in that their past defense was so bad.
Right.
Remember those videos of they would just play like 8 or 9 yards off the receiver and they just dump it to Corey Coleman for 5 yards, Jay Lee 5 yards, and just went right down the field. That could be what we see. We could see them just not pass the ball in a couple of drives and go right down the field.
Remember the Baylor North Carolina bowl game?
Yes. That would be the Russell Athletic Bowl. By the way, I've been offered a jacket with a Russell Athletic Bowl patch on the side, and it's a little big for me, but that is such a game deep in my heart. I was a freshman that I might just get it anyway. Go ahead, though.
Baylor, Oklahoma Saturday. Baylor over under 550 rushing yards. Just why throw the ball? Throw for 47 yards if you want to, but run the ball, hold it for 45 minutes, suffocate Oklahoma. Winfield Scott, Anaconda plan.
I think I won't predict this in my official predictions, but I have a sneaky feeling this game could be a blowout. You know what I mean? Like it's whenever you see these big blowouts, it's usually not the best team against the worst team.
No,
it's like just teams heading in opposite directions. And I think because of that rush defense thing, it could be like the Russell Athletic Bowl, or Baylor puts up 40 points and Shapen throws for like 120 yards.
You know what's going to happen?
Just bully him the whole night.
The Sooner fans are going to find this inevitably, and they're going to post it. So someone is going to, and can only hope that it becomes true. As Scotty Swingler last week fired an absolute shot from the top rope at the Tech fans, not being a very good atmosphere,
according to Matt Jones.
And then Matt Jones was like, "Yeah, those fans sucked." He didn't say that. I should backtrack.
I know that felt good for him. That's a West Texas kid right there. I know that felt good.
He came out and was shocked, like visible. He's like, I was expecting them to be good, and then they just weren't. For a fan base as proud,
fake fans.
For a fan base as proud as Texas Tech is, that hurts.
I mean, look, I'm just gonna throw this out there. Please, nobody let him look around McLean Stadium in the final few minutes of a Baylor game.
That's a great point.
Please don't.
Actually, the beginning of a Baylor, at any point of a Baylor game.
But I mean, he is right in that. I mean, I wasn't there, unfortunately.
Could have been. I invited you.
Yes, you did. But I could not hear it through the TV at all.
Well, you couldn't hear the announcers either. You couldn't really hear much, actually,
that's true.
On the production Saturday.
And I was like, the cameras are never shaking. I can never hear the crowd even a little bit. And I think it's just because they were just never in the game, really. I mean, they cut it to 7 late in the third. Baylor scores the next drive. But other than that, they fall behind 10-3. They miss on a 4th down on their first drive. Or I think that might have been the pick, but it was also on 4th down. Anyway, they were never really in it the way the Baylor fans were against Oklahoma State. Like the game got close at one point, but they were never there and had this great thing to cheer for. So I guess I'll give them the benefit of the doubt, but that was nice. That was nice.
If you're Baylor and you want to win a football game where you control the time of possession and you force 5 interceptions, that's a great recipe to win.
Pretty good. Holding the ball for 2/3 of the game is decent.
And then when you give the ball away, when the other team inevitably has the ball, you take it away from them. That's a good recipe.
You down with OPP? Yeah.
Before we get to Dave Aranda and his post-game press conference, which he was pretty chipper and he deserved to be, when they put Shuck in the game, I audibly laughed. I did. They put Shuck in the game.
They really think they had something here.
Here is our last hope. Here is our third and final quarterback who the ESPN broadcasts have been warming up on the sideline since jump. And lo and behold, his first pass is picked off.
Is a touchdown. Yes. As someone who watched the Mac Jones, Bailey Zappi tag team against the worst team in the league, the Chicago Bears last week, and get pummeled.
Yeah.
I was thinking, do they think this is going to be the solution here? Because the announcers are talking about it when it was a game. They were down 10 or 14 with plenty of time. And I'm like, this kid hasn't played since week 1. You think you're just going to roll him up off the bench? And he threw a touchdown pass. I'll give it to him. It was to McCarty, whose first name I don't remember, but it was a touchdown pass.
Can't say I do. The kid, he picked it off, and I was like, I don't. They might.
Well, there was some who had the pick in the end zone. The contested ball,
Tevin
simultaneous.
Williams.
What was it?
Tevin Williams.
Tevin Williams. I had never heard of that person. God bless you, Tevin Williams and Tevin Sr., whom I saw on Twitter today.
Yeah.
Nothing against you guys. Just had absolutely never heard of him. To me, that's a couple of people put together to get the name Tevin Williams. But love it, dude. Absolutely love it.
I had definitely heard of Tevin Williams, but I will be very transparent. When I heard the name McCarty, it's like they could have picked him up outside the stadium pregame and said, "We would love you to play corner," or he could have been a recruit. They were just trying
AJ McCarty?
Maybe yes.
That's somebody.
Right. I maybe.
That's big. That's it.
No, I think you're thinking of AJ and Allie, that girl band from the 2000s. Probably. So to the McCarty family, I'm sorry.
AJ McCarty. Yes.
I'm sorry that I didn't know. To AJ, I'm sorry, but I know your name now. It's like Jaron McVay. pre-McVay, someone says, hey, what do you know about Jaron McVay? Old guy, Baylor football.
You seen him out there.
May still be on the team, plays sometimes.
Yeah.
And then, boom. Granted, I'm showing myself here. I don't, I'm no Travis Roeder. Travis Roeder knows these guys.
Travis does, man. Big on Kelsey Johnson this week.
Yeah, I'm not, I wish. I'm
Travis
just
knows this out, man.
Revealing my true colors here. Dave, Aranda.
Does know these guys.
Happy man. Dave, what do you got for us?
It's good to see you guys. I thought the week was a real positive one. I thought that our Tuesday practice might have been the best Tuesday that we had, and I thought our Thursday practice might have been the same, and best Thursday that we had. So, a lot of good things throughout the week, and then I look at the emphasis on takeaways. I look at the emphasis on being physical and running the ball, and then to see it transfer over on a game is pretty cool because it hasn't really happened so far like that this year. And I think just the growth of the team. I think this has been a team where we can all tell them that the stove is hot, but they have to touch the stove. And I'm hoping that we don't have to touch the stove anymore on certain things. So, take any questions you guys got.
Dave, 6 sacks, 5 interceptions. You can't really expect a better performance than that, can you?
I'm proud of him. I think a lot of credit goes to Ron Roberts and that staff. I know that there's probably more early morning and late night meetings this week than I can remember. I think offensively what Tech is doing really stresses you, and there's a fair amount of creativity with their plays and their tempo for sure, and just all of it. And so I credit those guys, and then I credit the players too, because they went out and really had a chip on their shoulder and played with an edge. Now, I will say, that starting in the third quarter, right, it gets down to it gets down closer than it probably should be. I think all of that is still growth for us. I think as a team, we are probably, I imagine like everybody else, when things are good, we're happy, and when things are bad, we're angry or we're mad, and you just can't, that is not going to cut it. That's not how you win, And so when things are good, we have to have a chip on our shoulder, and our standards have to be higher. And we need coaches and we need players to hold everybody to that standard, and we're fighting for that.
Dave, you talked about them getting in a little closer. It was a one-score game, and you answered with that 75-yard limit. How big was that, just to kind of, again, create separation, but answer their score, I guess?
It was good to see. I thought offensively, the offensive line really took it upon themselves to impose their will and to really be physical. And you could see, and then our running backs too, really worked on playing behind their pads and turn their legs and all of it. And so I thought our receivers did a good job blocking. I think all of that really played into it. And then, when you can run the ball like we were doing, then it opens up RPOs and play action passes and that. And so I think the physicality, we get that for 4 quarters, then we're a little bit closer to who we want to be.
Dave, how do you think your team responded to this crowd tonight?
Yeah, I think when you execute, you silence the crowd, and that's really the only way that the crowd gets silenced. You can wish that it would go away, or you could try to talk louder or yell maybe, but the only way the crowd goes away is if you execute. And so it ain't really about the crowd, it's about what we can control and what we do. And so I thought there was times tonight where we really focused on the focus, and so it was good.
It seems like when you need that drive, you guys run the ball, especially with Richard. When was that point when that trust became what it is, to where when you need, like I said, 50, 60 yards, you go on the ground with a guy like that?
No, I appreciate that. I think, when you need it, I wish it wouldn't come down to that particular score when we would need it. I wish that we could kind of keep our foot on the pedal the whole way, and we're aiming to do that still. But then I think, we're built that way to go to the run. And I think, we've done that earlier in the year, and just, no one noticed because it didn't work, And so now that we're there's like I say, I think so many times when there's some youth, it's just the words aren't enough. There has to be actions, and I don't know. I need to probably find better words because it'd be easier to not go through it, to have to try to get closer to it.
Matt, what did you actually think of the crowd noise compared to maybe Provo and Ames and West Virginia? It didn't seem that bad.
No, I thought BYU was more electric, more intensified. I didn't think their fans really, or the crowd really brought it like we were expecting. I think we had high expectations as to what we were going to expect coming into the game with the crowd and how it could be a distraction, but I don't think it really distracted us one bit.
That was Dave Aranda. This is Drake Toll. That is Cameron Stewart. We're both, we work for Sports Illustrated, actually. We tell people all the time. If you ask us, we'll tell you we work for Sports Illustrated. I personally find it cool. You?
I think it's pretty rad.
It's neat. Tomorrow, come back on the show. We'll be talking, hopefully, I think we're going to talk to Robbie Triano. That guy's pretty good. About the whole Big 12 TV deal. What does it mean? Why should we care? Does it mean anything? This is Halloween. Everybody make a scream. Is that how that song goes? No. Halloween, Halloween, Halloween. Happy Halloween, everybody. Go out there, trick or treat with your children, too. If you don't have children, trick or treat yourself. Treat yourself. Mental health's important. I think it's Mental Health Awareness Month, October.
Yeah, get it in while you still can, Drake. Then
I think this is Locked On. Thank you for making it your first listen every single day. Baylor. Is it Mental Health Awareness Month?
I think it was.